Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Winter Ultimania Grand Slam 2025. We are back with the final match of the semifinals weekend, and what a way to cap it off. It is another loser's bracket match, the last remaining spot in the finals up for grabs between our 20th seed Saemitsu going up against our 7th seed cyger, looking to try and continue their loser's bracket runs. As always, my name is Sparky, and I am joined in the commentary booth by none other than Darkmaster. How's it going, man?
What's up, everyone? It's been a while since I've commentated, but I'm back at it, and I'm excited to see what we're going to have today.
Awesome. Do you have any expectations going into this? Saemitsu and cyger both winning their previous matches this weekend to go up against each other. I think this is going to be a little closer than the seeds might give us credit for here.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a neck-and-neck match, considering both players are actually very good. Despite Saemitsu being 20 seed, I think he's going to have a pretty good run against cyger here.
Yeah, potentially. They're very good on those LN and hybrids, and able to stand toe-to-toe against some of the better players in this tournament on the rice picks as well. So I feel like there's going to be quite a bit of overlap with the overall skill sets of these two players, and it's really just going to come down to who can keep their respective runs, their respective picks cleaner overall.
Yeah, definitely.
So getting things underway here, we're going to get into the warm-ups. And looks like this one's going to be Saemitsu's to start things off. Knowing Saemitsu and their propensity for enjoying SV, I imagine this is probably an SV pick. If not, then it's probably just a LN pick.
Definitely sounds more SV-ish, but then again.
Yeah, it has those very familiar. I think with Lapix is a very popular artist for SV charts, and given the way the drops go, it wouldn't be surprising if we started off with an SV pick. And I mean, cyger's also one of those types of players that enjoys, well, I want to say enjoys playing SV, but will definitely learn SV. But sight reading them, never really something you want to do to start a match off.
Yeah, but it is always a warm-up, so can't be that bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a little bit of fun to kind of loosen the nerves a little bit. I imagine both these players knowing each other pretty well, going back well over, I'd say, about 4 years now of either staffing in each other's tournaments, or staffing in tournaments with each other, or being players in tournaments, but never actually facing off against each other until today. So it'll be interesting to see how they stack up against each other. A lot of, dare I say, mutual respect between each other.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been around for that long, but I trust what you say.
Yeah, it's one of those, I guess, being around these two for as long as I have, it's one of those, like, okay, it's hard to choose somebody to root for or stay neutral in this situation, because I know both of them so well. So one of them going to be on the losing end of this match is going to be really sad, but hopefully they both play to their expectations. Just kind of leave it all on the line, don't leave anything, any potential what ifs, because exiting a match thinking, oh, I could have done this or I could have picked that at any given time is always the worst feeling.
Yeah, I think we see some of that starting off here with cyger dropping in the early parts of the map.
Yeah, getting caught up by some of the SV elements as we get into the drop, and sure enough, this is basically just a battle of somebody that knows the SV chart and somebody sight reading it for the first time. Thankfully, cyger taking the no-fail, so won't see any of those funny situations happen where in team versus if somebody does fail out, it's the end of the map. There is no continuing past it, so won't have to worry about it in this instance. As Saemitsu finally trading some of those misses, not fully memorizing everything going on, but still holding on to the S rank, which is commendable in its own right.
Yeah, the gap just keeps getting bigger between these two, as I've Saemitsu seems to practice math much more, but still both players dropping some. As this is one of those trickier SV maps.
It's the fact that it's also just Saemitsu, not one for short warm-ups. It feels like every map I feel like they've thrown out for a warm-up has approached or been at that 4-minute barrier that we put in place. Just needing quite a bit of time to kind of get settled in. I mean, credit to them. They take the warm-up seriously. I mean, they do practice these SVs. It's not just kind of like, okay, we're both side reading it, let's just have a little bit of a giggle. This is their way of kind of getting locked in for a match. And then we have the opposite side of the coin, where we have cyger making covers of songs, weird, impossible vibro maps to just be silly about. But I feel like they've really made some, dare I say, playable maps for their warm-ups so far this tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the funny Vibro maps could also be a warm-up in a way. A little more erratic, but it still works, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like players tend to hyper-focus on trying to be perfect, so having a map that is literally impossible to be perfect on can kind of just ensure you kind of get out of that mindset, because it can really spiral out of control if you aren't too careful. But that's just me tapping into player mentalities that might not even exist in this day and age.
Yeah, as we close out the match here, there's like a 200,000 score gap, and ever growing difference between the two players at the moment. The Saemitsu keeping up that S rank, while cyger holds a solid B rank for a sight read on an SV map.
Yeah, there's really not much more we can kind of add to this here as the map comes to an end. It's very clear. Mission accomplished if Saemitsu wanted to flex any SV knowledge, or hopefully, in their case, get some of the nerves out early on before going into it, because it'll be very interesting to see what cyger throws out for their warm-up here, if they even have one. Ah, we're doing this again. Okay.
So this is cyger's map.
Yes, this is a cyger map with cyger as the artist. You might be wondering, okay, they didn't make Palette. No, but they made a cover of Palette.
So I guess seeing that cyger map this, it should be just a kind of a sweep here.
Yeah?
This sounds like more of I guess a jump streamy map. More physical. Yeah.
Good way of putting it. Compared to other things they have created in the past, this is definitely one of the most playable cyger maps they have ever made. And I hope for all of our sakes they get into it soon, because... Okay, good. Thank goodness. Listening to it once already, I wouldn't say it's a bad performance. Definitely have heard worse from cyger. I feel like this is one of their better vocal performances, and you'll soon hear why.
Actually, really interested to see what you mean, because I haven't heard anything from cyger ever.
Be grateful for that. Between the two of us and everybody listening, be grateful for that.
Sure, I'll leave you make. Oh, you just missed on Zilla. Okay.
And there's a trade. So this is very much, very, dare I say, Broken Hand Stream-esque style of chart, but we get into the vocal stuff, it becomes more of like this Anchory LN style thing going on. And yes, the dulcet tones of cyger covering this song. I think in a different server that we're in on Discord, They described this as their swan song. They didn't expect to make it this far. They thought they were going to lose to Eraseum yesterday. So the fact that they're here, I don't think they were expecting to hear this twice.
It's not bad.
No, it's definitely not. The way I described it yesterday was this feels very much like karaoke bar vibes. Like it's just he has the mic at the karaoke machine, and everybody's just kind of like, okay, all right, yeah, this is an appropriate time for this.
I mean, you can hear his heart and soul in that.
Oh, he puts effort into these. It's great, but like I said, this is definitely one of their better vocal performances. I think they've had greatest hits such as the Canadian national anthem, which was very interesting, among other various musical choices. And Saemitsu thought the map was over. It's very funny. Getting into this full LN section, it's I mean, it accomplishes the goal. It's definitely got enough physically demanding elements found in this map pool, maybe a click easier, dare I say, than some of the things that they'll be playing. So, I mean, for all intents and purposes, it's a pretty decent warm up.
Yeah, it's one of the like harder songs, I'd say, at being 4.77 stars, but
yeah, I think that's just more down to some of these denser moments. But again, they have very much in the past created some utter monstrosities. Just stack notes everywhere, impossible vibro, like just cramming as many notes into milliseconds as possible. It's been hilarious. So hearing this and seeing this is definitely interesting change of pace, but that will do it for the warm-ups. We can throw on the tiebreaker immediately to continue on here. We'll get into the protects bans and that all-important first pick.
I mean, I thought it was pretty good, in my opinion.
I mean, like I said, it's definitely one of their better ones. And we can begin the roll. It's going to be a 50 from Saemitsu, so a 50-50 shot for cyger to be able to beat this. And it's going to be a 74, so they win the roll this time around. Given their past matches, I don't really think they enjoy winning the roll, because that means that they get first pick.
Predicting that Cyger picks something more ricey here.
Yeah, I can see that happening. Something maybe like Bullseye or We Own the Night. I think Saemitsu has struggled on more tech-oriented styled Rice, and sure enough, Rice 2 going to be the pick here for the Protect. Saemitsu going to respond probably with one of these LN picks, something like LN2 or LN3 potentially. Cyger able to stand toe-to-toe on the LNs, had some pretty nice LN scores yesterday in their match against Eraseum. It's just a matter of what style they'd want to go into here. The hybrid's also on the table. Oh, hybrid 3. Completely forgot that it existed. It has SV. Saemitsu might actually protect that just to ensure that it gets to stick around here.
The funny SV map strikes again.
Yes, absolutely. I said it yesterday. There's probably only one player that actually looks forward to hybrid 3 in this tournament, and it is Saemitsu.
Well,
and sure
it's
enough,
hybrid 3.
Unsurprising here, ensuring that it doesn't get banned out, because that was probably going to be Cyger's ban. Able to play it also, definitely not a stranger to SV style charts, but against Saemitsu in particular, definitely wouldn't want to get into it. Saemitsu opting to ban Rice 1, which is honestly a little surprising. I'm surprised they didn't go for something like Rice 3 or Rice 5, one of the more tech-oriented charts. But, I mean, if they didn't want to get into a consistency battle against Cyger, I can definitely understand that. And now with Cyger up to ban it might just be which of these remaining LN hybrids is their least favorite, or Rice 7, because it's really long.
A little unfortunate ending Rice one. I kind of wanted to hear Rolling Girls.
It's a pretty good song, especially on that 1.1x rate. It feels more energetic. But for right now, just waiting on cyger to give us the ban before that all-important first pick. As a reminder, this is a best of 11 match. First player to 6 points will punch their ticket into losers finals. Loser will be eliminated on the outside looking in.
Taking them a second to think about it here.
Yeah, it's a little surprising. But I think they put all their eggs in that hybrid 3 basket. But no, they're gonna get rid of the core jack pick. So no real straightforward picks left in that Rice pool. Rice 1 and Rice 6 being the most like cut and dry type of picks, as cyger goes into what'll be their first pick in this match. This could be a pretty decent opportunity for cyger to maybe explore venturing down into those LN hybrid picks, maybe just pinch some of that map pool from Saemitsu before they really get a chance to establish themselves in this match. But in that same vein, which of the LN hybrids would be the safest to go into first would be a pretty good question to ask. But no, they're just going to go straight into their protect, going to start it off cut and dry. Rice 2, Bullseye going to be the pick here.
I guess it's the safest option, trying to solidify themselves early into this longer match.
Yeah, a very good way to put it there, where you're in it for the long haul. It's a bit of a marathon in this best of format, so why not start off with something that you're very comfortable with, play to your opponent's weaknesses a little bit, and see if you can just get a point on the board immediately to just kind of shake off any lingering doubts as to what might happen in this match.
Saemitsu seems to be not very excited about this map, declaring defeat already, but
yeah, it's definitely a bit of a 180 in terms of how these players approach these Rice charts. Cyger historically has been a pretty good early to mid game Rice player. Doesn't normally swing some of the highest accuracies that kind of stand out on statistics sheets, but doing just enough over their opponents to ensure that they can either hold on to enough combo to stave off any potential advances, or just establish enough of a foothold to ward off any late game pushes from their opponents. And I think that might be a trend here, where we'll see cyger have these like really strong starts, holding on to this like 99.7, 99.8% accuracy. And then once we get towards the end of maps, we'll start seeing like the 200 counts come through, starting to chip away at the accuracy. And if their opponent, if Saemitsu can stay in and around like 0.1% in terms of accuracy, they actually have a pretty decent shot of stealing away some of these Rice picks from cyger. As we get things underway here, it is going to be a bit of a cushion for cyger to work with. 2,300 points as they both cross that 400 combo cap relatively comfortably going into the second third of this map. Saemitsu being the only one picking up a real number of 200s to drop them down, but staying within 0.2%. Name of the game here as we continue on into this back half of the map.
yeah, this is definitely more of a hand-tree physical map, with cyger maintaining in the upper echelon of like the 99 percentile range, while Saemitsu is just barely in that 0.2 below cyger here.
Yeah, and that really is all the difference here as we make our way into the last third of the map. Neither player finding any real significant drops, both of them holding on to their FCs as we get into this bit of a mixed burst mini jack oriented section, navigating it very well. Neither player falling victim to any of those outer column mini jacks, but Cyger starting to pick up a couple 200s of their own, but Saemitsu picking up the first break, a second one as well. And just a very sloppy transition out of that last segment, going to give cyger some breathing room now to work with as they continue to fall down below that 99% mark now, and cyger going to take that and run with it to about 25,000 points. And what was looking really close early on, not able to be sustained by Saemitsu, and cyger going to be able to pick up their protect relatively comfortably at the end of the day to make it 0-1.
I guess the right picker. I guess the his protect was, I guess, the proper move here, considering that ending portion completely screwed Saemitsu over.
Absolutely, just knowing that things pick up there at the end really start to ramp up in terms of pattern complexity. And I mean, you can never really guess how your opponent's going to do, but you can kind of bet on yourself in those instances. Like when things do get harder, you're able to sustain just that little bit more. You see that 100 very dangerously close to it turning into a miss, but able to allay those thoughts and pick up that first point to start this match off on the right foot, leaving Saemitsu with an opportunity to answer back now with their first pick in this match.
And honestly, it was really close in the middle there. Seeing as Saemitsu, I guess, is more of an LM player, I'd say.
Yeah, very much so. And wouldn't be surprised if we saw a protect for a protect hybrid 3 immediately. Would be a pretty logical deviation to get away from those rice picks, but honestly, any of these LN hybrids might be comfortable territory. It's just how confident they're feeling in themselves to perform on any of these other picks.
Saemitsu seems to be putting some extra thought into his pick here.
Yeah, just really working the clock a little bit, as some like to say, taking the full 2 minutes here, and they're gonna go to hybrid 1.
Hybrid 1 seems to be a little bit of an interesting pick here, with Famos being the mapper.
Yeah, not really overcommitting to any style in terms of like pure LM, pure rice. This definitely has had some interesting interactions in prior matches. We've seen some pretty wild swings on it. There are some pretty nasty trill patterns across one-hand and two-hand variations that cause a little bit of discomfort misreading into those sections. You're just losing that entire segment in terms of overall score. So maybe Saemitsu banking on that from cyger, a bit of a misread moment here or there. There are plenty of pitfalls that could lead to that outcome if they play their cards right.
This is one of the faster maps we have here at 211 BPM. Also, I'd say a little longer as well.
Yeah, one of the couple maps we have that clock in over 3 minutes, just barely, but definitely does make a bit of a difference. Tests small elements of like mental stamina, because you kind of towards the end want the map to be over, and that can lead to some pretty interesting accuracy drops. Gonna have to watch out for that as we get this second map underway. Can Saemitsu equalize here, or will cyger pick up the first breakpoint in this match?
Seems to be extremely even at the moment with Saemitsu just picking up some of those marvelouses on the LNs.
Yeah, just a little bit more centered through this introduction. Cyger trending a little to the left, a little early. As we get things underway, the first key eye section coming through here. A lot of quad impacts going into some really quick bursts, some split trills, some jump trills as well, just for good measure. You get into the first big LN trills as well, and
No.
both of them having a pretty good time of it as it stands going into the second third of this map. Saemitsu currently still about 0.2% ahead as things stand here, able to hold on to this 2,000 point lead for the moment. Still plenty of map to go here. Cyger not out of it just yet, but the fact they're at the deficit going into this bit of a break section bodes very well for Saemitsu here.
Yeah, I mean, he seems to be keeping up in the upper half of the 99th percentile. So, by all means, if there's a more bursty section, I think Cyger might take the point here.
Potentially, there are some pretty nasty rice bursts still to contend with. You have these LN anchors as well, could very easily underhold some of them as we begin the next build up into the last third, and another rush of 200s from Cyger here, going to drop them down even further, bolster this lead from Saemitsu going into this next KI section, and we start to get into some pretty nasty patterns. As Cyger going to be the first one to find the drop this time around, going to help extend this lead for Saemitsu on their first pick in this match, now increasing their lead to about 13,000 points, still holding on to the FC going into the last quarter of the map.
Yeah, those misses on 200s from Cyger here. Yeah, as he drops another, it might just solidify the lead here and win for Saemitsu, considering it's around a 10,000 score gap. But Saemitsu seems to have dropped around 0.2 accuracy, so there is some time for Saemitsu's comeback, or Cyger to come back.
Yeah, last days of the chart coming through here. Saemitsu losing about 5,000 points in that exchange. Needs to get back up that 400 combo cap. Cyger starting to make some inroads here. Might not be enough time. Crossing that 900,000 score threshold now. There's very little score left to work with as things calm down ever so slightly. And Saemitsu going to be able to answer back that first point going the way of Cyger with their first point of the match to equalize 1-1.
Both players here having a pretty even ratio, but Saemitsu just having that almost SS accuracy here.
Yeah, only 6 200s. I think just one segment catching them out, getting ones in every other column. Cyger, not too bad in their own right. I feel like if they had managed to FC it, it would have been like a low 980k potentially. Would have made it a little bit closer, but alas, not going to be the case here as we go to Cyger's next pick in this match. And I wouldn't be surprised if we just went right back up into this Rice pool. And it's going to be Rice 3.
Rice 3 immediately compared to the, I guess, longer thinking times that both players had earlier.
Yeah, I think they kind of understand what this match is going to come down to, just an LN versus Rice dichotomy, knowing that Cyger can probably just raw out physical Saemitsu in terms of consistency, means that they can take these a little bit more confidently.
Yeah, already you can hear this map, and it seems like a very, I guess, dense Rice map here.
Yeah, it definitely has its moments. Very technically demanding, a lot of interpretive streams, if I were to put it so eloquently, where there isn't really much of a foothold to stand on in terms of noise to note comparison. You're kind of just free flowing at times, but you do get a pretty good number of breaks in between some of those bursts. So we'll have to see how Saemitsu stacks up. Cyger looking a little bit more comfortable on Rice 2 in comparison.
Right,
And with Rice, yeah.
with the ice you're saying in terms of stream, that's a really good way to put it. Because I mean, it sounds like that you'll have like a bunch of like scattered random patterns with nothing like I guess consistent.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. And we'll see that come to fruition here as we get into the third map of this best of 11. Both players currently tied 1-1 as things stand. Both players winning their first picks in this match, going into cyger's second. Going to be Rice 3 here. We own the night. As we get things underway, we can kind of get that intro out of the way, some free accuracy for both players as we get into this first major jump stream section. It's very dense in comparison to what we saw in little portions on Rice 2, pushing, despite the 97.5 BPM, basically double that, but make it about 196 to 194. And both of them navigating it very well. Cyger actually losing more accuracy in the exchange in comparison to Saemitsu, who's holding on to this 0.3% advantage, 2,700 points going out of that first Ki.
Yeah, Saemitsu is definitely keeping up a very good accuracy here with I guess entering the denser portion. He had like a 99.8 compared, and I guess both players lost an even amount of accuracy compared to where they were entering the dense portion.
Yeah, just able to keep it a little bit steadier. But we'll have to see as things progress. The first third now behind us, we can continue on to this next section. We will see basically reprises of that dense jump stream, broken, whatever you want to call it. Just the density ramps up incredibly high, and it'll be up to Saemitsu to keep it clean, maintain pace with cyger, because we know cyger is capable of FCing stuff like this nearly on command. Won't have the highest accuracy at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, combo sometimes does win you matches, and they're starting to climb up in terms of accuracy to contest against Saemitsu. Now 0.2% behind, closing the distance on this lead. 2,000 points now as it stands, as Saemitsu starts to pick up a couple of 200s, a rush of 300s as well, but cyger and Saemitsu both finding trees at the end. Not able. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think both misses were a little negligible here since they was at like around the same time, so it just puts both players behind, but also closer to each other.
Yeah, within what, 10 notes of each other at the end of that last stream section, going to basically equalize between the two of them. There aren't any LNs to kind of throw anything into disarray, so one raw miss basically equating the same amount of points at the end of the day, and cyger gonna now start taking the advantage ever so slightly, but as they start dropping 200s back and forth, we're gonna play tug of war with this leaderboard. Hundreds of points separating the two players going into the outro. It's funny, both players probably don't feel good about their chances of winning this map, but one of them is going to be incredibly surprised the fact that the outcome went their way. And right now, cyger looking poised to take this at the 11th hour. Only hundreds of a point ahead, equating to about 1,700 points going into this outro. A couple of impacts left to read through, and it's going to be cyger taking it away from Saemitsu, able to hang on there at the end. Only 2,500 points to make it 1-2.
That was an insane match, I think.
Absolutely. It's so close between these two players, and the fact that it's, what, 1-200 separating the two of them, both 100s, both one miss, and it just becomes a ratio battle as Saemitsu has left the building, probably going to restart their client, maybe check on some scores potentially. I know inside of a match situation you want to really make sure that you're not, or that you have everything in check here.
Yeah, that was definitely an exhilarating match we just had.
For sure. So right now, it looks like Saemitsu checking their previous score on that and picking up 300 extra 300s. That's a bit of an offset thing. I can relate there. My last match last weekend, Uh, Definitely found myself hitting a lot earlier than anticipated going into the match. And funnily enough, it was against Saemitsu. So funny how things work out here as they opt to go for LN2 now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a chroma map, which should have some interesting playing around with LNs and rice portions here.
Alrighty, so just waiting on the players to ready up. Gonna get into this first LN map of this match. We've seen some rice, we've seen some hybrids, but this is gonna be the real test for Saemitsu to see if they can keep cyger at bay. We know cyger is very much capable of swinging pretty good LN scores. Relied on that to see them through against Eraseum yesterday. So if they do have some potential offset problems here, the early releases could spell their doom if they aren't too careful as we head on into it. So as we get things underway here, both players very strong starts through this introduction, going to kind of begin settling on their respective perches as we make our way to this 400 combo cap. Going to be within a couple hundred points. As things stand, this coordination-esque LN chart with some density elements as well thrown in just for good measure. Gonna favor Saemitsu for the moment here as they managed to keep themselves above that 99.7 mark. Cyger picking up a number of 200s and a rush of 300s as well. Trying to maintain pace, but gonna fall down to that low 99% mark. Gonna equate to about 4,000 points of a lead for Saemitsu to kind of work with as they start to find some 300 rushes of their own here.
Yeah, this definitely seems to be a Saemitsu dominant map with some interesting rice additions here, as I mentioned earlier, with it being a chroma map. Cyger seems to have just dropped below the 99% range here.
Yeah, just hoping to hang on as best as they can, being able to combo their way through it. Hope that Saemitsu finds a couple of drops through the second half. But I mean, outside of a couple of 200s on that pseudo inverse section of a break, if we can even call it a break, by all intents and purposes, it's still going to be ball firmly in Saemitsu's court, able to extend this lead, double it even, to about 10,000 points. Oh, but they do find the slider break, which puts a massive wrench in the works here. The lead that they had built up looking so comfortable, now basically evaporating in an instant as we continue on into the last quarter of the map. It is now 2,500 points. Cyger able to hold on to the FC. The full cyger method in effect as things stand, looking to try and take this first potential breakpoint. Saemitsu trying to hang on as best as they can here. Cannot afford to find any more mistakes as they build back up over that 400 combo cap going into this outro.
Yeah, they definitely had a more, I guess, like around 10,000 score gap. That miss definitely put, breaking their efforts, but their gap or their lead seems to have not been affected that much as they remain around 4,000 points above Cyger here, with him not have been able to take the 99% score here.
Releases. And Saemitsu manages to hang on. A bit of a scare there towards the end, but able to build up enough of a cushion. Cyger not in a position in terms of their accuracy to really contest much on the pick, but it's gonna be 2-2 here.
Yeah, this is definitely a tense battle here with between the two players.
And now it's Cyger up to pick once again. I mean, we can just go straight down the list here. We went Rice 2, we went Rice 3. Why not just go into Rice 4? Just, oh, it's gonna be Rice 7. Okay. Gonna strap in for a 6-minute rice chart. All right.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, this is one of the, I guess, longest maps you have here at 6 minutes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a long one. The boss pick for the rice pool this round. Uh, dare I say, hard in its own right. It is very sporadic in what it decides to do, and the consistency element definitely going to be put to the test here for both players. As
Yeah, I think they're. Oh yeah, I mean, sorry, but I'd say that around the 3 minute mark is when the leads and points will be solidified, and at that point, if both players can just keep it up from then, it'll just be whoever did the best in the first half of the map.
honestly, that's the perfect way to put it. You're gonna do the work very early on, ensure that you have a solid foothold through that first half to be able to withstand any potential hiccups in the back half, to be able to stave off any advances. Whoever's going to be in the lead needs to ensure they don't kind of start slipping towards the end, because it can change in an instant. With a map this long, the road to recovery is much smoother than if something was like a minute and 40 by comparison.
As we get into it here, it seems that Saemitsu is uh, predicting a bloody nose from his end. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, they stopped playing all of a sudden. That'd be very unfortunate. I hope their nose decides to play fair. Been seeing a lot of things breaking so far this week, and hopefully their nose isn't the next thing to go here, because that wouldn't be good. But as things stand, we get this map underway. Saemitsu picking up a very early drop on these opening burst sections.
Although an earlier miss is better than one near the end, I'd say. So it's a lot more negligible, as you can just climb up way easier.
There's really not... You have enough notes to play with to get you back up at that 400 combo cap almost immediately, not giving your opponent too much free time. And like you mentioned, better to get it out of the way early in a 6-minute map than towards the end. It's like, okay, cool, I'm not going to FC it, as opposed to having the nerves of like, okay, I'm holding on to like a 4,000 combo. I don't want to drop this late on. So it might play out better in the end for them. And the fact that it was relatively clean, able to keep themselves in that like mid 99% range after the drop, gives them a chance to maintain pace with cyger, who is only ahead by virtue of that miss, it feels like.
Yeah, honestly, this early miss could be some hidden tech that we've never seen before.
What is it? Reverse choke. You don't have to worry about chokes late on if you just throw away the FC immediately. Just miss the first note. Do that for all the long maps. Perfect. I'll be sure to use that in the next tournament I enter, because it'll be a couple of years before I manage to qualify for one. But Saemitsu going to find another break, and that actually might not be according to plan here, as we make our way past the first quarter of the chart, going to help extend this lead for cyger. As the density begins to pick up, we see the 200 counts beginning to rain down from Saemitsu's end, not getting answered back this time around by cyger, who has been slowly but steadily increasing their overall accuracy, going to be eclipsing that 99.6 mark before too long if things maintain pace here.
Yeah, cyger almost, I guess, dropped a little with some 200s in the mix, but keeping up in the upper 99 range, with Saemitsu creeping back up in the 0.3.
Oh, some interesting late hits there from cyger. A couple of 200s, even a 100, going to drop them back down the hill a little bit, but not put too much of a dent in that overall lead, as Saemitsu is going to be the only one finding drops here. Can't really do much against an opponent that's holding on to the FC here, even if you do build up the accuracy, but starting to really struggle a little bit as we make our way into this syncopated mini jack oriented section. Cyger
Oh,
finally finding a drop as well going into the back half. So basically a full reset. That first 3 minutes gone by the wayside. It's playing out kind of how you laid out. Who put in the work in the first 3 minutes to establish this lead, and now it's just kind of like riding it out to the end.
yeah, Saemitsu seems to have picked his combo back up here. With Cyger seems to have dropped a little more with this interesting, like, I guess trilly stream section. But the gap is slowly being closed out here, as it was 12,000 earlier, now it's at around 10,000.
Yeah, it shrinks ever so slightly, but Cyger still has a couple of misses in the back pocket to play with. Saemitsu picking up a number of them through the first half of the map, and with a quarter map still left to go here, could potentially start making some inroads as the density begins to pick up once again. Cyger picking up a couple of 200s, but Saemitsu picking up a miss and a couple of 200s as well. Going to bring them back down to that low 99% mark and increase this lead for Cyger as they find one as well, transitioning out of that section. But it's still about 11,000 points. Gonna need a couple more here if Saemitsu's gonna try and get themselves back into this. The accuracy can go by the wayside now. It's basically just the accumulated miscount from both players accounting for this deficit.
Yeah, the score gap between the two players seems to be extremely consistent here as we have entered the second half. I mean, there's not much that can happen here unless Cyger seems to have dropped just like 5 notes in a row, but it's unlikely to happen. But he seems to have dropped just a few 200s now.
Yeah, they're doing their best to maintain their consistency. They are very much a player that will forego accuracy if it means hanging on to combo by any means necessary. So the 200s are kind of just that necessary expenditure to ensure that they don't begin dropping, and it's paying off in this instance as they're able to maintain this 10,000 point lead. Last sliver of chart left to go. It does not give you any semblance of a break by any stretch of the imagination. You need to maintain full focus. There is a full jump stream section to end this map off, and if either of them transition to it in a dirty fashion, it could potentially still swing here. It is very much tooth and nail as we approach this jump stream section. It's going to be the last real major burst this map has to offer, and it begins to shrink under that 10,000 point margin, but Cyger seems to have done enough in this case to hold off Saemitsu for the full 6-minute marathon that is synaptic plasticity, and is going to be able to pick up this point to make it 2-3.
That was a great performance from both players here, with Saemitsu just having some of those unfortunate misses. His tech seems to have not worked out here.
Yeah, it's crazy. The fact that Saemitsu is actually able to outratio Cyger by about 100 300s, and let's see, their eyes hurt. Oh no.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, those few misses seems to have just brought peril to Saemitsu here.
yeah, it feels like having to stare at a screen for 6 minutes straight, and if you're one of those players that doesn't blink while you play, drying the eyes out is very much a thing. Hopefully they have a way to kind of reorient themselves, because yeah, it definitely does take a toll after a while. But we'll have to wait to see what their next pick is going to be. It's still all to play for. And I mean, Hybrid 1 worked out, LN2 worked out in their favor. Could see something like LN4 coming through here.
Maybe you could hit up another hybrid map from Saemitsu.
That's true. They do have Hybrid 3 in reserve as well. I mean, Hybrid 2 is also a pretty good option, but I feel like if they really wanted to harp on a comfort pick, Hybrid 3 might be a good way to go. But honestly, I think right now the most important thing in their mind right now is making sure their eyes don't hurt anymore.
Maybe some eye drops are in order here.
Yeah, get that Visine action going on here. So the true mid-match tech. It's like forego the couple of eye drops, just unscrew the whole thing and just like dump it into your eyes.
You know,
As a
maybe a grip feeding mechanism to not blink at all.
true. Full disclosure, that is not medical advice. Do not do that. You will probably end up in a hospital. But right now, still waiting on Saemitsu to throw out this pick here. They do have a 2-minute timer to work with. I want to say they can take a timeout if they really do need more time, but it is going to be LN3 at the end of the day here.
Yeah, we see how to play Ellen's Shiawase here.
Yeah, dare I say, probably one of the more straightforward LN picks left in this pool. Envy and Mejirushi are both pretty hard in their own rights. Maybe Saemitsu wanting to only play those in case of emergency. So, we'll have to see how this one goes. With the way these two have been playing, it feels like at any moment the shoe is going to drop for one of them, and a breakpoint is going to go one way or the other. And if that does happen, getting that breakpoint back might be a bit of a tall ask, depending on who gets it.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the longer maps we have here, so... But also, I guess, relative to the last map, not that long at all.
Yeah, in comparison to Rise 7, I feel like all these maps are basically TV sized. They're going to go ahead and get on into it here. Saemitsu looking to try and keep pace with cyger. And cyger looking to try and get that first breakpoint on the board. I feel like both these players, once again, just very capable of taking points off of each other. It's just a matter of which map is going to be the one that does it.
It's really even for both players here with around the same accuracy.
Yeah, and then we continue on, start to get into some pretty coordinated release sections, some long LN anchors with some rice interspersed in between. Very comfortable fare in comparison to what the players have been navigating so far. It does pick up in density, and I feel like Saemitsu has weathered the storm a little bit better as things have gotten more complicated in terms of the pattern structure front on these LN charts. So as we begin to build up, players virtually tied. There is no semblance of a lead for either of the players as we get into this first major key eye section, and both of them maintaining pace with each other inside 500 points, 100% separated the two players. The cyger finally blinks first, finally falls from that perch below the 99.7 mark. Saemitsu not coming down to join them anytime soon. Actually, as I say that, starts to pick up a number of 200s through this density section to bring them back down ever so slightly within a 0.1% once again, and it is going to be a near deadlock going into the back half now.
Both players here are extremely close, and it might be, I think, a Saemitsu win if he just keeps up this, consistency here.
And with a third of the map left to go here, it is still very close to call. Not a comfortable advantage for Saemitsu as it stands, but an advantage nonetheless, something to work with as we begin the build-up into this outro. The density going to pick up once again, and in the exchanges, Saemitsu won the first one. Can they win the second one? If they do, they will more than likely have this point in the bag, but cyger is going to make it as hard as humanly possible. As we continue on here, a couple of charges coming through from cyger, not answered back, but doesn't do that much damage. We get into this wonky release section, and nobody trading.
Funny shields here with some, I guess, back-to-back LNs here. And this is much more of a dense section, but definitely relying on your ability to release properly.
very much so, and I think Saemitsu just has that advantage, being able to keep those runs so much cleaner than cyger in comparison, and they're going to be able to waltz off into the sunset with a 10,000 point victory on LN3 to make it 3-3, and we are now in a glorified best of 5.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the more close ratio battles here, but Saemitsu just, I guess, around more than half of or no, less than half of Cyger's 200s here.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of comfort on the Olympics. And whoa, okay. All right,
Oh,
curveball getting thrown. Cyger going to be the first one to venture into their opponent's territory. It's going to be LN1 for them. And
see, it's a
I'm not
two
sure I
map.
like it.
This could be interesting. I
Very.
think Cyger understands it now. After playing all those LN maps, he's ready to dominate in the field.
had a couple of maps to download how to play LN, literally. And this, I don't like this pick, if I'm being honest. But I mean, Cyger's been a player to eschew the norm and take those risks. I would have very much rather have seen this to start the match than halfway through, because I think we've kind of established this dichotomy of who has the advantage on the respective sides of the map pool. I think Cyger could have easily exhausted all the rice picks and basically won all their points, but in an effort to maybe pinch the map pool a little bit on Saemitsu, they're gonna go for this LN pick. And we'll have to see if it works out. This is very much a turning point potentially in this match.
It'd be a little sad to see that if Cyger loses this, but entering this map, we see him actually kind of dominating the field at the moment with around opening with like a higher score gap than was usually seen with the other maps.
Yeah, able to start this map off with an accuracy advantage, but it does go by the wayside just ever so slightly. Saemitsu has looked a lot more comfortable by comparison on these more intricate LN release sections, and when you get into the major coordination as well, if there's enough density, we see that they're able to stave off rushes of 200s. But I mean, it is flickering back and forth. Cyger rebuilding the accuracy advantage with Saemitsu coming right up to meet them. 99.5 for both players, and they're hovering in this mid 99% range. Hundreds of points being traded back and forth with half the map already gone. This is going to come down to the wire unless somebody finds a drop.
Oh, and we see Cyger having sent out some 200s around here with that dense LN section, putting Saemitsu with a much more hefty lead than was previously shown in the low 4-digit range we have now.
And both players able to handle those transitional moments with those trills. Oh, and Saemitsu finds the slider break! Not answered back by Cyger, holding on to the FC. Saemitsu still has the lead in terms of the accuracy, and there's enough density left in this chart to get them back up over that 400 combo cap, but a 4,000 point advantage nevertheless, not going to get answered back as things stand. Can Saemitsu claw this back? It is 4,000 points still in Cyger's favor. 5,000 points now as the last couple of notes rain down, and the risk pays off. Cyger is rewarded on LN1 to make it 3-4. It was looking really dicey there, but it comes down to who blinks first.
That's insane. There's some sort of...
It's the Cyger method.
The Cyger method.
Literally the Cyger method.
The Cyger method works?
FC at the expense of accuracy. And boy, when it works, it works.
Cyger paid off Saemitsu's keyboard, I think.
Something, but I mean, good thing is, not a breakpoint. That would have been disastrous if Saemitsu had gone into it and found that slider break. So no harm, no foul at the end of the day. Saemitsu still has plenty of maps to work with here. I feel like if anybody's going to start feeling the pinch of the map pool, it might actually be Cyger with only 2 rice maps left in the pool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Saemitsu have the LN4 and both 2 and 3 hybrid maps. So this could be an interesting development as we close out the rice pool here soon, with LN4 being picked.
Yeah, Mejirushi is an animal in its own right. It is very awkward to get consistent scores on. It feels like you just kind of bleed 200s left and right if you aren't too careful. And when you do eventually get into these drops, it is so easy to just misread an anchor or just one of these like really awkward trill bursts that are found throughout. And with only 2 minutes to work with, you don't have much room for recovery.
I actually like this map.
Oh, it's a fantastic map. Yeah, it's definitely a good one. One worth practicing if you want to get into LN hybrid charts. But
as we get into it here, waiting for the sync to happen.
Yeah, Bancho keeping us waiting in anticipation. And we get things underway here. Cyger venturing into the LN pool, taking a risk and having it pay off. Now Saemitsu needing to ensure that they can close out the LN pool with a victory on their side. And looking really good to start things off. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, Saemitsu seems to be keeping up his accuracy here with dropping. So yeah, that was definitely a hefty drop here, putting both players even right now. With cyger also falling up some drops.
Yeah, very inner column anchor moments happening here that can cause a little bit of discomfort, but both players holding on to their FCs. As we have seen, we've just very few mistakes between the two of them throughout this match, and the margins have been so fine. Right now, Saemitsu nursing about a 10.5 of a lead, accounting for 3,000 points as we get into this next key eye section. Very coordination heavy, chance for kind of both players to reorient themselves, not having to deal with any insane burst patterns or weird release timings. And as we have seen, Saemitsu look just ever so slightly more comfortable, needs to avoid any potential pitfalls here and this outro, but things begin to calm down. There aren't really any major tricks left up this map sleeve, maybe just one last spike in difficulty. Going into this outro, still ahead by about a 10th of a percent. Cyger doing everything in their power to try and take this back. A number of 200s coming through from Saemitsu, going to shrink this lead to about 2,000 points. An inverse section, not finding any misses, and Saemitsu manages to hang on. Watch the release. It's going to be 3,000 points to equalize once again, 4-4. Neither of these players giving an inch as we make our way to Cyger's final pick in this match.
Yeah, as we close out the LN portion here, we have Saemitsu with an almost perfect ratio.
Yeah, very clean score overall. Equal 200 counts.
Right. Yeah, it was just a ratio battle there. Both players having tied up now with just 4 maps. Yeah, 4 maps left before tiebreaker.
Yeah, and for Cyger, managing to venture into LN1 and take something there saves both rice picks. But, I mean, Hybrid 2, potentially. But I think they meant 4 maps left to choose from. There are 2 picks left in this match, but it's gonna be Rice 5, so gonna opt for not going into the speed pick, gonna go for Breathe instead.
I see Rice 5 here by actually Crustbell. Our very own Crustbell here.
Yeah, very short one in comparison to what we have. So it'll be interesting to see how the players stack up on this one. It's very much the only real mixed rice style pick left. So right now just waiting on the players to get ready. Regardless of what happens here, I think stating the obvious, somebody's going to be on a match point situation. And I dare not speak it into existence early, but what a way it would be to end semifinals weekend than with potentially a tiebreaker. But things have to play out the way things have been so far this match. Both players winning all of their own respective picks. No breakpoints going either way so far. Still plenty of time to change that, but we'll have to wait and see. We get into Rice 5, the final pick for cyger in this match, regardless of what happens. Gonna need to close it out as strong as they have throughout this match on their picks. If they want to keep Saemitsu at bay, avoid that 13 seed upset here, potentially.
Yeah, the gap between the 2 players here is to progressively increase as cyger maintains his higher, very high accuracy here. Saemitsu in the lower half now of the 99s with a 3,000 score lead from cyger here.
Yeah, just doing everything that they need to. It's very heart-in-mouth moments when these like chord jack oriented bursts come through and the snaps start to get a little bit more condensed because of the fact that you get this like implied mini jack motions and the propensity to not double tap when need be is very real. And as we cross the halfway point of the map, it is 0.1%, as we have seen. It is very fine margins between these 2 players. Saemitsu picking up a very loud 200 in that last exchange, not answered back by cyger. Going to grow this lead to about 4,000 points, but it is still way too close to call between these 2 players as we approach this last quarter.
Yeah, definitely anything can happen at this point, but they're on a 0.2 difference. So if cyger were to miss here, it could actually just need to win for Saemitsu.
Potentially, but as things stand, near perfection for both the players approaching this last 8th. It is grown to about 0.2%. cyger growing this advantage as the rain of jack patterns starting to wear away at Saemitsu's accuracy down into that low 99% range, and without any misses coming through at this ending, it is going to be cyger making it a match point situation. It's going to be 4-5, forcing Saemitsu to either win their point or lose this match overall.
Yeah, that's definitely a rougher end here for Saemitsu with the score lead being created to 10,000.
Yeah, a number of 50s coming through. And fortunate not to find any breaks, but they might as well have been given how many points they bled over there at the end. But I mean, to be fair, not a pick Saemitsu would have ever probably willingly gone into, so no harm, no foul at the end. As now we have Saemitsu needing to force the tiebreaker to come through, and cyger saying they did not play the tiebreaker. I mean, to be fair, to their credit, I don't think a lot of players do, which is a shame because there are a lot of jump scares in this chart.
So we're left with Saemitsu's picks here with both hybrids or Rice 4.
I don't think there's a world where they don't go hybrid 3 here. Like, it has to be hybrid 3.
Right, because those are, they haven't cashed in their Protect yet, so.
Yeah. I mean, hybrid 2 is an outside consideration. I mean, Saemitsu's great. I don't fancy their chances on Rice 4, but if they're feeling it, maybe. But you gotta play to what you're comfortable with, and they have been very comfortable on SV oriented type picks, and this is no better opportunity.
Run it down.
Hybrid 3.
Hybrid 3.
Alrighty, we started with a Protect. We are ending with a Protect. It is going to be Realm. Cyger had to play this yesterday. Had a pretty good score on it. But this is such a volatile pick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it might be either players here, with Saemitsu having more of a mental gap here, but
Alrighty, so waiting on both these players to get ready, really taking their time. I mean, I don't blame them. This is the ticket to finals is so tantalizingly close for both of them. So evenly matched between the two of them. As we load on into it. This introduction going to paint a pretty clear picture of how comfortable these two are going on into it. Saemitsu, like I mentioned, just no stranger to SVs. Not perturbed in the slightest by any of the staggers so far. Cyger picking up a number of 200s on the build-up here. Gonna drop them down to that 97% range. As Saemitsu gonna take that and run with it. 99.6% for them, building up basically a miss of a cushion in terms of score lead, as they both trade misses on the literal, almost exact same note.
I guess like 2 notes away. It's crazy. But with them missing at the exact same portion, I don't actually think that means anything for Cyger here.
No, I feel like in that exchange, Saemitsu takes that any day of the week. It's funny. It's similar to what we saw earlier in this match, where both of them had like a low 99% run going. And I said that one of them is going to be very surprised by the outcome. This is probably that same situation for Saemitsu, where they found that drop, but they might find themselves pleasantly surprised the fact that they're still basically a full % ahead in terms of accuracy, and they have this 15,000 point lead to work with, that if they get too motivated by that singular miss, thinking that they might have blown it at this juncture, especially with that next miss coming through from Cyger, not answered back once again. This is the most commanding lead out of these players. This has Saemitsu finds a pretty nasty drop of their own. A second one as well. Gonna drop it down to about 13,000 points. And now you do start to get worried. Another slider break coming through from Saemitsu. It's now 5,000 points. Cyger in position. They're gonna be able to get back up with that 400 combo cap. And Saemitsu finds yet another drop. Oh no!
Oh my god. Wait.
Okay. There's still time. Oh, Cyger finds it in our break! It's gonna come down to the wire here. Saemitsu ahead by 1,400 points. Oh, gotta make sure you keep this end outro clean. One of these two is going to be so severely surprised by this ending. It's going to be
Oh,
Saemitsu hanging on. We're going to tiebreaker to round out the semifinals weekend.
what an insane match from both players here. That crazy, like,
Oh my
drop junction
god.
that Saemitsu had, just to be followed up with cyger missing absolutely one note. Holy. An insane performance from both players here, with Saemitsu putting up an extremely good fight against cyger here.
Oh my god. No, that I don't think Saemitsu would have been able to sleep knowing how much of an advantage they had going into that outro. I would have been devastated for them if
Oh
I
my.
knew that I had a 25,000 point lead and it came down to that.
That was insane. Again, as you mentioned, like right in the beginning, the what ifs and what could have.
Yeah, exactly. So, Saemitsu asking if they can use the restroom before before going into this. Yes, they're gonna use their timeout. Yeah,
Is the secret buff that Saemitsu's needed this whole match?
the restroom buff. Yes, they need. Oh my god. Cyger asking if they can take a timeout directly after. Why would you want to play this twice? You're playing 12 minutes of map.
It could be. No.
The other secret tech.
Wait, is this good? Is this being allowed?
I mean, they can take their time out if they want. There's nothing stopping them. But what they decide to do in that time is very much up to them. Yeah, they're gonna go look at the map. Why would you do this? Oh my goodness.
It could be like the. I mean, I don't know. He could improve on the second time around. So
yeah, but you get mind block patterns immediately. The best thing that can happen is going into a sight read of a map you don't know. You can't mind block anything if you don't know it.
right. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I find that I sometimes blind read maps better.
Exactly. Just raw instinct take over. Don't prepare anything, but regardless. We're gonna Saemitsu is back from the looks of it. To the chagrin of everybody watching, cyger has left the building. They're knowing I mean they're streaming. So they're probably crash coursing the map right now during their 2 minutes. This is peak cyger moment happening as things stand.
Yeah, definitely a cyger method here.
Very much so. This is, I mean, this has been their MO from the offset, starting like what 4 years ago. It has always been like this.
Hopefully, we see both players come back with more vigor than ever.
I mean, they're gonna need to. One of these two is not making it past this round. Hi, going into this, I don't know who I favor. Like, they've both had their moments. They both have some pretty clear-cut weaknesses in their play styles. It's really just going to come down to who can handle the transitional moments in this tiebreaker. There are some very intense Rice-oriented bursts that have given Saemitsu trouble. But on the flip side, there are some very dense LN structures that could give cyger a bit of an issue if they aren't too careful, especially with that outro. There is an SV jump scare in this map. Is it going to catch somebody out?
I have to look at the cyger screen. Is he actually? Oh no, he's not. Okay.
Yeah, he only had 2 minutes to work with. He wasn't. It's no physical way could they finish it.
Unless.
No. we have to get this show on the road. For those of you keeping track at home, wondering when the showcase is going to happen, it will happen, dare I say, immediately after this match is over. We might take a couple minutes to close things down, swap streamers, and get everything set up, but it'll probably happen within the next 30-40 minutes. So definitely stick around if you want to see what the players are going to go through, what one of these two players is going to have to deal with next weekend.
Yeah,
oh, we don't have timeouts? I don't read the rules. I guess not. Okay. No, we're just yapping at this point. So, alrighty. 5-5. Neither player taking a break point at any point in this match. And I mean, we shall see how things go here. Yeah, we actually unironically finished the entire song. So yeah, the 2 minute for the map pick, 2 minutes for Saemitsu's timeout, and then 2 minutes for Cyger's timeout, despite the timeouts not existing apparently. So it all plays out. No stalling here. So as we get this map underway, we are buckling in for yet another marathon. Cyger currently 1 for 1 on maps that are about 6 minutes long. Can they make it 2 for 2? Can Saemitsu pull off the upset here? At least in terms of seeding. And punch their ticket into the finals. Cyger didn't even think they were going to be in this position. They thought they were going to lose yesterday. And now to be on the cusp of a finals appearance definitely feels interesting. I can imagine the nerves on both players' minds. Both these players very much driven by emotion sometimes in terms of performance. They can lose hope at times, but one of them will be the victor here at the end of this map.
Yeah, both players are actually extremely tight right now. Just a few marvelouses keeping Saemitsu in the lead here.
Yeah, it is. Neck and neck through the introduction. Both players comfortably making it past the 400 combo cap. 0.03% separating them. And it's going to be basically what we saw on Synaptic Plasticity, where the work they put in during the first 3 minutes of this map is going to be what they have to work with going into the back half. And if either of them have a lead going into this midway point, they need to do everything in their power to protect it. But for right now, dare I say, nobody has a lead. They are virtually tied going into this first Ki section.
Yeah, they have like just about the same accuracy here, with maybe a few 200s off each other. What I'm seeing here is that we're, I think, at the third, past the first third of the map here, and we're still only a fourth of the score in, so we should be expecting some super dense portions later on.
Yeah, and during the first real transitional moments, I meant to pick up a number of 200s to drop them down below Cyger's accuracy for the first time in this map. It is still way too close to call. A rush of 200s once again from Saemitsu, getting answered back in kind by Cyger, but Saemitsu finding the first major break in the map so far, going to give Cyger a 3,000 point advantage to Nurse as they hold on to the full combo. The Cyger method in full effect as things stand, but now able to hold on to the higher accuracy as well. As they start to find a couple of 200s out of that transition, Saemitsu retaking the advantage in that front and being able to chunk half of that lead away from Cyger in an instant. 1,900 points the margin between the two players. As we approach this back half, it is very much all to play for here in this last 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, both players, I mean, Cyger with the lower accuracy and using Cyger at the full force, but Saemitsu is very able to take the lead here if Cyger were to drop just any more, with the lead being closed further now.
Yeah, that. For every 100th, every 10th that Saemitsu can climb back up, we have some very easy LN sections for them to be able to act their way through to build back up. And for every little 100th that they can take away from cyger here, it is hundreds of points that they can take back into their favor. As we continue on, another build-up section here, some split trills, and now I can imagine the hands start to get a little clammy. You start to second guess what you're reading through. The 200 start to rain down ever so slightly. Last third of the map starting to come through. Still in this build-up section. It is hundreds of points. Saemitsu dropping on the build-up into the bursts. Able to mitigate some of the damage going into this LN section, but they don't have the combo to work with to begin trying to take away this advantage as cyger starts to find a couple of 200s, still holding on to this FC going into the last quarter of the map. It is 3,000 points in favor of cyger as things stand. Saemitsu finds yet another drop, going to increase his lead for cyger. 5,000 points to the good now. A couple of misses in the back pocket, not getting caught out by the first SV. Going into the last quarter of this map, things are starting to tighten up in terms of the accuracy, and that does not bode well for Saemitsu. They need cyger to find a drop, and they need it to happen soon, lest they find their tournament run end here and now. How is this still so close?
It is insanely close between the two players. With Saemitsu's accuracy, or using his accuracy distance to keep up here. Cyger in the sub 0.2 range. The Saemitsu closing out the 5,000 score lead. It's running the 4,000s now.
Like I said, it's the recovery climb. Cyger finding the drop on the transition into this outro. Long LN drill is going to catch out cyger once again, and it's Saemitsu's opportunity to capitalize. They have the accuracy advantage. They can start making some inroads in this lead. It is 1,200 points going into the next drill. Both of them finding the trade here. Saemitsu takes the lead. An eighth of the map still left to go. There's still a very nasty outro to read through.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing's solidified just yet. There's a less than 1,000 score difference here.
Gotta watch this slow down. Things do taper off. Every judgment count. It is 1,100 points. 0.1% as things begin to wind down. 1,400, 1,500 for Saemitsu. I dare not say anything beyond this point. Gotta watch the 200 on the slowdown. Last couple of notes, and it's going to be Saemitsu. At the end of the day, it was looking so bleak there at certain times, but the cyger method does not work out in the end. Saemitsu pulls off the upset 6-5 to punch their ticket into the losers semifinals.
It's insane. It's absolutely crazy upset here with Saemitsu pulling off his win as the underdog in 20th seed.
Oh my goodness, the run continues from Saemitsu. How many tiebreakers is this man going to go through? I feel like they basically have the lion's share of them here in this tournament, but somehow they find it within themselves to pull it out at the end. Congratulations to Saemitsu. Unfortunately, this is the end of the line for cyger. Commiserations to them. Put up a hell of a fight to make it this far. Farther than even they expected going into this. Oh boy, what a way to end the semifinals weekend. Could not have asked for a better ending to what has been an electrifying weekend.
It was an absolutely insane match there. Yeah, I was really scared for Saemitsu here because I thought he was going to lose, but I guess cyger just I guess he choked right at the end there.
Yeah, those last LN trolls really catching both of them out, but the fact that Saemitsu was able to keep themselves ahead in terms of the accuracy, the fact that they didn't let slip too far when they did find their drops, was the difference maker in the end. So we officially have the finals bracket set up. It is going to be Otek Yarika and Yaw going up against each other next weekend. He's and Saemitsu on the other side. And on the winner's bracket, it's going to be Chicken Gold and Bean Lai. Oh boy, some exciting matchups next weekend. 6 players left. And all that's left to do this weekend before we let everybody go is gonna be that finals map pool showcase, as I mentioned. Gonna close up shop here for just a little bit, get everything set up, but definitely be on the lookout for the stream ping. But until then, we'll catch you guys later.
Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you real soon.